before I pushed open the door to the throne room. Sebastian looked up from his throne with his eyebrow raised, a look of surprise on his usual emotionless face. A moment of silence passed between the two of us. I broke eye contact with him head down. I glanced at my new glossy shoes and the fancy ball gown I was wearing. The calm I had momentarily broke. Taking a deep breath, I walked towards him and sat on the smaller throne next to his. It was a throne made of pearl and marble, a throne for the Queen of Erin. "You can control water," he said in his usual cold and clipped tone. "To a very limited extent. You should have plenty of time." I was dressing up. My voice became softer, too shy, lack of confidence. The usual problem when I faced King Sebastian. He was right, I could have been able to escape. Only he was trapped here. But I was sure even if he wasn't trapped, he would not leave his kingdom. He would stay here and looked at every bit of his kingdom fell into ruin like the king he was. The fire was just around the corner when I entered the throne room. The air was getting hotter. Fumes sneaked past the door. "Leave, Liana." My heart skipped a beat. It's the end of my life, and I was happy he said my name. How pathetic I was. I tugged at the sleeves of my ball gown. There isn't enough time, and I'm the Queen of Erin. I'll stay here with my king. I looked up and met his ice-cold eyes. "You control water only to a very limited extent." The huge mahogany door erupted into flames. Fire danced outside the window. "I can't escape now." I whispered, "That's the end." I closed my eyes and tried to bear the intolerable heat and pain. At least I was one of the best-dressed queens to be burnt alive. A cold hand covered my hand and gave it a gentle squeeze. I opened my eyes in surprise and stared into the calm eyes of Sebastian. Pain left me and everything turned into ashes. Entry 1, April 4th, XXXX. Is this what afterlife looks like? The exact copy of your past life, but restarting at the point before everything turns into ashes, giving you another chance to make a totally different choice. I am back to 4 years ago. The year when I was still 16. Wait, I am 16. My parents and brothers are still alive. I don't understand what had happened, but another chance was given to me. I would be a fool not to grasp it. I need to change the future. I will make sure that my beloved family stay alive. I will. The first thing to do is to break off my engagement with King Prince Sebastian. People may ask why. Don't you want to be the future queen? Don't you like Prince Sebastian? I tried in my previous life. I tried, it failed. I am not and will never be queen material. I am quiet and awkward around those I am not close with. Even though I learned to disguise my awkwardness in front of guests, I was still not talkative. I was not charming. People didn't like me, neither did King Sebastian. I was left day in and out in my room when there were no social engagements. He seldom talked to me. I was lonely and sad. And then there were those accidents. I could stand the loneliness, but the talks and looks, and the fact that he didn't help me even when I begged for help. It's too much. I am not suitable, and it's best to break off the engagement before everything starts. By breaking off the engagement, I could leave the kingdom with my family before tragedy strikes. But Sebastian, he really does not deserve that kind of ending. He is a good king. Is there a way telling him everything that will happen in the future without exposing myself? Entry 2, April 7th, XXXX. Breaking off the engagement is going to be hard. I decided to talk with Mother about my engagement with the prince today. Mother was good friend with late Queen Henrietta, Prince Sebastian's mother. Before the two of them were married, they made a pact. Their children will marry each other. Don't ask me why they did that, but I think that's really stupid. Look at how it turned out for Sebastian and I. However, it's not up to me to decide. And to put it politely, since one should not say bad things about the late queen nor one's mother. The late queen and my mother are both bubbly. When Queen Henrietta was pregnant with Sebastian and mother with my brother, Adrian, they were already planning their wedding. To be quite honest, they were planning Sebastian and Adrian's wedding. So Adrian should be the one marrying him, not me. But alas, it turned out Adrian is a boy. Mother was disappointed, and rumor has it that mother was so sure it's a girl. She only bought baby girl clothes. She even wanted to dress Adrian in girl clothes. Father stopped that in time, so baby Adrian didn't turn into a boy who once wore baby girl clothes. 2 years later, mother was pregnant again. The two of them became excited once again. This time, father forbade mother from buying bunches of baby girl clothes. I guess in the fear that if this turned out to be a boy again, mother might really dress the baby in girls' clothes. They planned Sebastian and Jesse's wedding. There's still very much non-existent grandchild's baby shower. Of course, Jesse is a boy. Mother was extremely disappointed. You see, from then on, Mother and Queen Henrietta became obsessed, so when I came 2 years later, if they could, I am sure they would throw Sebastian and I together and marry the two of us as soon as I was born. Of course they could not, thankfully, and I'm sure that's illegal. Sebastian and I were engaged. Why was I writing down such detailed episode of Mother and Queen Henrietta's lunacy? No, delete that epic wish. I listened to that extremely detailed and crazy epic tale from my mother just now. See, I decided to bring up the topic tactfully. Mother, you see, I am engaged to Prince Sebastian since the very first second I was born. But oh yes, you and Sebastian are going to make the loveliest couple. Ah, look how we turned out. Well, Mother, we are just not close to each other. We don't even talk, we are not even friends maybe. What nonsense. You two literally grow up next to each other. You were so talkative whenever he came to play with you. I was 5. Which child isn't talkative when she is 5? I was at an age when I liked to make pretend. All Sebastian did was stand there like a statue. I admit we were close once, as in I could talk to him and regard him as my playmate. But that was before Queen Henrietta passed away, which happened when I was 10. Since Queen Henrietta's death, Sebastian no longer visited me. Guess what happened to playmates who haven't talked to each other in 6 years? They became strangers. Mother, that was 6 years ago. Now poor Henrietta. Mother started sobbing back when Mother thus started to tell me her stories with Queen Henrietta and their failed attempt to marry Sebastian with Mother's first and second born. I knew that I was not their first choice. But did you have to say, it's such a pity Adrian isn't a girl? Needless to say, my first attempt in breaking off the engagement failed. Life for a reborn girl is going to be hard. Entry 3. April 12th. XXXX. My power is a bit weird. I decided to let go of being tactful and get straight to the point. That's the only way I could talk with Mother. That's what I learned after 3 failed attempts. Every time I brought up my engagement, she started to become dreamy. Mother, I want to break off my engagement with Prince Sebastian. I should have waited until Mother put down her cup of tea or finished drinking her tea. She spitted out her tea right at my face and poured her cup of tea on my lap. Everyone in this world has 1 power or 2. And I control water, but to a limited extent. I was not lying when I told King Sebastian I could only control water to a very limited extent that fateful day. I can only control a small cup of water. A small teacup. That's why tea spillage is my specialty. My dress never sees a day of tea stain. At that moment, I tried to force the tea coming all over me back into the cup. But that's the strange thing. After this usually easy feat for me, I felt dizzy and started to cough. I coughed out blood. Mother screamed. I really hope it's due to the fact that I coughed out blood, not because I wanted to break off the engagement and I fainted. Mother came in just now and I was scolded for writing in my diary when I was sick. See, Mother loves and cares for me after all. I asked about my condition. Mother, am I going to die? Stop worrying. You won't die anytime soon as long as you rest. Then why was I coughing out blood in novels? People who cough out blood die 1 chapter later. I don't want to die. I haven't saved my family. Nor have I reminded Sebastian on what is going to happen next. Liana, stop worrying. You always worry too much. Worrying is going to age you, you know. Doctor said it's not consumption. Then why was I coughing out blood? That's not normal. Well, he said he wasn't sure of the exact cause. But he speculated that it had something to do with you using your power. Liana dear, did you push against your limit just now? He said that might be repercussion. When a person uses his power over his limit, repercussion occurs. Everyone knows that I know that. I know my limit. Mother, you knew I didn't. It's just a cup of tea. That's exactly what I can control. Well, maybe it's slightly out of your limit. Who knows? The amount of tea might be a bit more than what you're used to. I know that's not it. But Mother seems to believe that. I need to further investigate that, Mother. About what I said, Liana. Henrietta and I really thought the two of you are very well suited. If we thought you two did not get along, we would have called the engagement off. Do you still remember the time you two played together? Prince Sebastian was really nice to you, and you always had a fun time playing with him. But that was when I was small. I know you two haven't talked in ages. And that's all my fault. I missed Henrietta and refused to get close to the castle. Mother, that has nothing to do with you. If he wants to talk to me, he would have. In balls or gatherings or even write letters. He didn't, Mother Liana. How many balls have you gone to even if you did? Those aren't gatherings where a prince would join. You know he is busy. He fell sick for Sebastian. Sick? I don't remember him falling sick. Not at this time. Or maybe I just wasn't aware of it in my previous life. I am slow in getting news, yes. For a few weeks already did they ask for healers. Of course they did, silly. Then why is he still sick after a few weeks? It's rare to be sick for weeks. It's rare to be sick for more than 3 days. Stop worrying, Liana. I'll arrange the two of you to meet up. Once the prince recovers, if the two of you really don't like each other. Mother won't force you, take some rest, see. Mother loves me very much, I have to save her. Entry for April 23rd XXXX. I did some experiment on my power as I thought. Something is wrong. The limit of my power has greatly reduced. I can now only control 1 drop of water without getting sick and coughing out blood. 1 drop. I thought controlling a teacup of water was lame. Now guess what happens to my power? One should be satisfied with what one has. If only I understand this earlier on, then I would not have complained if that's the case. Would my power not have left me? Joking aside, I think it has something to do with my reborn. I traveled back in time. The balance of the world has to take something away from me. And that is my power. I think that is fair. Today is my 17th birthday, so I guess I should stop writing about boring stuff. That water control power isn't really a necessity in my life, to be quite honest. Seems like my dress can no longer stay tea-stain free though. Adrian and Jesse are coming back early from their work. Father too. Mother and I already went shopping this afternoon. Oh, they're calling me for dinner. It's good to be 17 again, I miss this. Family gathering together. People celebrating my birthday. If I do not change the future, this is going to be my last birthday dinner with my family. I am not going to allow that to happen. I was not at all surprised with what my brothers and father gifted me, as it's not the first time I experienced this. They aren't creative, so they got me a necklace, a pair of earrings, and a novel recommended by Adrian's fiancé. What surprised me was that Prince Sebastian sent me a gift. That didn't happen in my previous life. I looked at Mother. Did she write to the prince already? Oh. Has the prince recovered? Mother asked. She guessed what I was thinking and shook her head. No, dear, I didn't ask him to send you a present. I didn't even know he has recovered. He is getting better, he still has to stay in bed. But he can manage some paperwork now, Adrian said. He works for the king and the prince. What did he send you, Liana? That is one huge box. And from the look of the footman, really heavy too. Jesse peeked. I eyed the large box curiously and lifted the lid off. My jaw dropped. My family saw my expression and sneaked closer to take a look at what was inside the box. Jesse took out one of the books and read the words on the cover out loud. Encyclopedia of Aaron Volume I. He put the book back into the box. All of my family simultaneously took 2 quick steps back. Apparently want to distance themselves from the entire set of encyclopedia. Liana, see, the prince cares for you. Mother said in a squeaky voice and gave 2 awkward laughs. Liana, the prince rarely gives out presents, so Adrian faltered off, is this a prank? No matter how poorly versed the prince is on the art of gifting, he could not have chosen an entire collection of encyclopedia. Granted, I admit that the encyclopedia has really nice covers, but still, encyclopedia as birthday gift. I am sure people who like reading encyclopedia would be very happy with the gift. But I am not one of those people. Is there some weird gossip floating around saying I like reading encyclopedia as pastime? I asked cautiously. No, I don't think so. At least Marie didn't recommend me to buy you a set of encyclopedia. Adrian answered. Marie is his fiancée. They decided to marry next year. When he was killed in my previous life, Marie was so devastated. She passed away shortly after that. I won't allow that to happen again. Well, at least the prince sent you something. Jesse gave me a pat on my shoulder. I'll help you carry the box to your room. Is this a prank? That's the only thought in my mind as I eye the box at the corner of my room. Entry 5 May 1st XXXX. Mother agreed to break off the engagement if Sebastian and I do not get along. The next thing I have to do is to tell Sebastian. I am sure he will agree. He doesn't care who he is going to marry. He is a workaholic. He cares about his kingdom and his subjects, but never his wife. That's why when I knew he was coming to the gathering today, I decided to approach him. He looks thinner and paler, but as handsome as always, the impeccable shirt, hair and glossy shoes, the center of attention of every guest. I secretly tracked him with my eyes. After greeting the hostess of this gathering, his aunt, he began to walk towards this corner of the garden I was hiding. That's my chance. I took a deep breath. I decided to track where he was going and intercept him. But then I found out he was walking towards me. No one was around me. If it was not me, then who? Did Mother write to him already? He stopped in front of me and gave me his usual nod. I started to tug at my dress. Why am I always so nervous when I stand in front of him? Good afternoon, Prince Sebastian. That's when I got this weird feeling. I felt dizzy and everything around me seemed to go backward. But that feeling disappeared after a few seconds. Maybe I was too hot standing under the sun. I hope you like my present, Sebastian said in his usual tone. As cold as the wind on a winter day, your present. That's when I remembered. The collection of encyclopedia. The box gaining dust at the corner of my room. I should have lied just then. I should have told him I liked that very much. I knew that. I opened my mouth after a second of hesitation. But that second of hesitation was enough. You don't like that? Was that a shadow of a frown on Sebastian's face? Of course not. Who was I kidding? Do you not like reading? I do. I love reading. But definitely not encyclopedia. I especially like reading romance novels. That hobby became my sole entertainment during my time as queen. Why did Sebastian send encyclopedia? It's not a prank, as he came to ask after them. And he seemed really concerned if I liked the gift or not. Of course, he was his usual emotionless self, with no expression whatsoever. But I was still married to him for 2 years. Even though we didn't talk a lot, there are really subtle hints to his mood. Prince Sebastian, thank you for your present. That's a set of lovely encyclopedia, especially the covers with the blue and red glass stones. He kept staring at me. He seemed determined to get an answer out of me. That's why I added the next sentence. Now are you satisfied? Some of the covers of the encyclopedia has glass stones studded on them, some with golden or silver ink. That set of encyclopedia is really beautiful. I have never seen something like that. If you like the design of the covers, you can give me 2 or 3 books you like. I can help you take it to the royal jeweler. He said there are some rubies and diamonds left. Royal jeweler, yes. He is the one who designed and worked on the cover for your encyclopedia. I can come over tomorrow to collect your books. I was so shocked my brain malfunctioned. No. You're the prince. You don't have to come yourself to collect them. You must be busy. I can handle a few hours off. You don't have to worry, no. How can I bother the prince for such mundane things? How about I give it to Adrian? You're my fiancé. Adrian always sneaks off during office hour to entertain his fiancé. I think I heard some kind of secrets from the prince. I'll come tomorrow. He gives me another nod. See you. Liana. I was still in a state of shock when I returned home. Does that mean the stones I thought were glass are actually real jewels? The white ones are diamonds, the red ones are rubies. The green ones are emeralds. The blue ones are sapphires. The prince must be kidding me, right? I need to take out the books and have another look. They are real jewels. I should have noticed. They are so different from mere glass stones. What kind of lavish birthday gift is that? Then does that mean he actually put some thoughts on my birthday present? Entry 6, May 2nd, XXXX. I woke up extra early this morning. I could not sleep last night. I want to meet Mother immediately after breakfast. Mother, you really didn't write to Prince Sebastian before my birthday. No, I did not. How many times do I have to tell you? Do I need to swear on my power to prove what I'm saying is the truth? I have not written a single letter in ages. You didn't. Then why did Prince Sebastian talk to me yesterday? I mumbled. Liana, she squealed, my dear daughter. Why didn't you tell me this yesterday? Such excitement, you didn't ask him to talk to me. Did you, Mother? I told you I did not. If Mother said she didn't, then I believe she really does not do so. She cannot tell lies. She was brought up by a nurse who can tell when someone is lying. Then what made Prince Sebastian changed? me being reborn. But I didn't do anything that will affect him for now. What did you say? I hope you didn't bring up the break-off engagement nonsense. I planned to but was pushed off. Mother, did you know the stones on the encyclopedia are real? I did not look really closely, they're real. See. My dear daughter, how much Sebastian likes you. And you wish to break off the engagement. Mother does not understand, something is strange. Sebastian did not act like this in my previous life. Why does he change? Everything is exactly the same as before except him. And I have to break off the engagement. There are only a few months left and tragedies will start. My family need to leave this country before then. I will tell him about the engagement today. But how can I warn him without drawing attention to myself? I need to think about that. Did I really understand Sebastian when he came by today? Mother happily pushed the two of us into the drawing room. I tugged at my dress. I should tell him. It's time to break off our engagement. We are not suitable if this continues. It will only create more endless suffering, especially for me. But why did I feel a bit sad at that moment? Prince Sebastian, I have something I want to tell you about. He looked at me, holding a cup of tea. Every bit the elegant and noble prince. Even though he didn't say anything, I knew he was asking me to go on. This silly instinct from the 2 years we were married. Prince Sebastian, let's break off our engagement. He looked at me with his eyebrow raised. The same expression he had when he saw me entered the throne room that very last day. The expression disappeared in a second. Write me a proposal, I will consider it. Proposal, yes. If you don't know what that is, look through your encyclopedia. There seemed to be a spark of amusement in his eyes. Was that teasing? Was that but Sebastian teasing me? Did you bring the books you want me to hand over to the jeweler? I was stunned for a moment, that's it. He was not shocked, he did not ask for reasons. He really did not care. I smiled bitterly. I guess the proposal thing was just to make things more official. Prince Sebastian, you really don't have to. I was planning to break off our engagement. How could I ask him to give me another present? You're my fiancé. Adrian spends more than half of his salary buying presents for his fiancé. That's nothing. Did Sebastian just reveal another secret of Adrian? Is that really my brother sneaking off work? Spending more than half of his salary. No wonder he always complains of being poor and refuses to buy mother new hats. I still didn't think that was suitable. I tugged at my dress. I need to spend 30 minutes coming here. If I left empty-handed, I would have wasted 1 hour. If he had to put it that way, what could I do but to take out my books? One is an empty notebook. Another is my favorite romance novel. I will contact you when they are done. The proposal, I will. Give it to me when you have finished writing it. I will consider it. He gave me a nod. I was dismissed. No, he would leave now. I stood up to walk him to the door. That was when my teacup fell off the table due to the movement I produced when I stood up. If it's before, I could save it easily. But I knew my body condition. I hesitated and the tea fell down, staining my dress. I felt some dizziness, and when I opened my eyes after blinking, the cup with tea was safely on the table. My dress clean, not a spot. What the cup, my dress. See you next time. Sebastian gave me a nod and walked off, leaving me staring at the cup confused. I am sure that cup fell over, the tea inside spilling out and staining my dress. I am sure, but why? Entry 7 May 10th XXXX. I don't understand. That day with the cup of tea and the unstained dress. I am sure my dress was stained. Then how come the teacup sat safely on the table? That happened after the dizziness I felt. I have a theory. The inspiration came from looking through the encyclopedia. Yes, I am reading it, albeit slowly. Time control. What if Sebastian has time control power? Then everything makes sense. He reversed time back to before the cup fell. Why do I think it's Sebastian but not myself? I experimented myself. I can't reverse time. The most important thing is I was reborn. I went back through time at that time. Sebastian was sick for a few weeks. Anything a healer cannot heal for few weeks. Repercussion from using power. A healer can only slow down and soothe a repercussion down. My theory is that Sebastian has another hidden power. Everyone in the country knows Sebastian can control ice. But it is not uncommon to have two powers. Not everyone is as stupid as that Prince Lucien from our neighboring country. Everyone from his country and the next 3 knows his powers, thus his strengths and weaknesses. It is better to hide one, so that it can be one's hidden card. Sebastian reversed time. That is why he acted differently. Why did he treat me so well? Perhaps he thinks I am pitiful. The unloved queen who was burned to death with her kingdom. But why was my time reversed as well, did he know? How can I prove my theory? If the Sebastian now is really that King Sebastian who died with me, I do not have to remind him. I am sure he will do everything he can to save his kingdom. But if he is not, I need to remind him. The first tragedy will be 3 months later. I am not clever and will never be. I cannot be tactful and slowly fish out information like heroine in novels. I choose to be direct. Sebastian called in today with my books. Mother once again pushed us into the drawing room with a happy smile. I had thought it through. I would first give him my proposal on breaking off the engagement. While he was reading, I would ask him about it. With his attention divided, it's easier to talk to him. That's what I found in the 2 years I stayed by his side. He was reading the first page of my proposal. As soon as he was halfway through, I would ask him about that. Prince Sebastian, can you control time? After a moment of silence, I can so it's true, but why did he answer so calmly? Did he know I knew so? Are you I am? He leaned toward me, his face an inch in front of me. He is staring at me with his ice cold, emotionless eyes. I tried to look down but was stopped by his hand under my chin. A smile appeared on his usual emotionless face. It is a smile that appears when a cat catches a mouse, or when a witch sees an innocent girl falling into her trap. It's the smile I saw when I begged him to help me find out the murderer who murdered my entire family in my previous life. I started trembling. I have looked through the proposal. I refuse. Why? You know we won't end well. We are not suitable. I want you to be my queen. He whispered next to my ear. Please break off our engagement. We are not suitable. I am not a good queen. People hated me. They said I brought bad luck. You didn't even like me. I said as logically as possible, trying to control my derailing emotions. Sebastian held both of my shoulders and forced me to look at him. They won't this time. They won't. We know the enemy this time. Those things won't happen again. I could not hold in my emotions anymore. The pressure now and the depression then. Everything exploded. You don't understand. It was horrible. I was lonely. I was all alone with no one to talk to. Everyone pointing fingers at me. And you didn't even help me when I begged you. I think I was going mad. Please break off our engagement. Sebastian looked at me with this unreadable expression. He lifted his hand and gently wiped off my tears that I didn't even notice were sprouting out. I agreed to break off our engagement, but with a condition. What condition? I have my plans, and losing my fiancé now is not beneficial to my plans. I will break off the engagement after that. When will that be? Does that matter? My family? You don't have to worry about that. Even though he is a cold-hearted and emotionless monster, I still trust him unconsciously and unconditionally. Even when I hated him for not punishing the murderer, or when the whole kingdom fell into ashes. How pathetic. Do I trust him this time? As pathetic as I am, of course. I do. Entry 8 May 20th. XXXX. After that day, a heavy burden seemed to have been lifted from my heart. Weirdly, Sebastian did not break connection with me, although I suspect it may have something to do with his plan. He started to bring me books. Not encyclopedia this time, but romance novels. Books I usually read. Thank you. I took over the book. Even though I know it's just make pretend. For some reason I felt happy. Happy that he brings me something every time he comes here. Happy that he finally spends an ounce of his super brain to notice what I truly like. I hope you like this type of books. A flicker of amusement passed through his eyes again. Teasing? Was he teasing? Maybe because of my confused look. For once in my entire 2 lives, he explained. Whenever I entered the room, you were reading an encyclopedia. What? That is not true. Why would I read an encyclopedia? The book with a blue cover and a tear at the right upper corner. Oh, that was an encyclopedia. I really wished I didn't say it out loud. You were reading it every time I entered the room. You mean you didn't notice? Another spark of amusement appears in his eyes. Well, from that day onward, I feel more relaxed around him. Maybe because he already saw my truest and messiest self. Or maybe I simply got used to him. I found out I actually could read him pretty well, even though his face stayed emotionless. And I was never a quiet person among people I know well. Well, he was actually in a pretty good mood at that moment, although it's his usual emotionless face. Maybe because he was teasing me. I had to think of an excuse. I couldn't tell him it's because I was reading romance novels that might be slightly embarrassing if seen by others. Especially him the first time he knocked on my door. I threw the novel behind the cushion, picked up a random book in my room, and pretended to read it. I still had no idea why an encyclopedia was in my room. Sebastian isn't one of those who like reading encyclopedia. Right. Anyway, from then on I always used that blue-covered book, which was now revealed to be an encyclopedia as cover. People will know you're lying with the amount of time you spend to come up with an excuse. I'm not coming up with an excuse, I'm not, I faltered. An ambassador from Ihan is coming. A ball will be held in a month, Ihan. Sebastian should be angry with Ihan. Our kingdom fell into ashes because of Ihan. Was this ambassador involved in his plan? The wife of that ambassador has some problems with her eyes. You mean Lady Aster? You want me to take care of her while you talk to Lord Aster? Lord Aster is the second in command of Ihan. But in truth, he controls Ihan and its king. King Leonard, he drove the original heir, Prince Lucien, off the throne and supported Prince Lucien's uncle as king. That happened 1 year ago. Prince Lucien is forbidden from returning to Ihan by Lord Aster's power. That's when disaster occurred. Sebastian should hate this Lord Aster. If it wasn't for him, Aster is an interesting man. It's that smile again, that predator-like smile. He really hates him then, right you? You want to take revenge. Aster is a better king than that Lucien. Working with him is more beneficial than with that Lucien. He leaned forward, touched my hair gently and whispered, "Working with smart people is better than with dumb people. Remember that, Liana?" He then walked out of the room. What did that last line mean? He doesn't seem to hate Lord Aster as much as I thought. He seems to prefer to work with him over Prince Lucien. Am I stupid or smart if I am dumb? Will I be discarded? What am I thinking? Our engagement will end soon anyway. Entry 9. May 27th, XXXX. I don't like going to balls. It's a place for socializing, and I start to feel left out whenever there are more than 6 people in a group. And a ball has hundreds of people. Of course, the rule of survival is to find your own group of friends. It's not like I don't have friends, I do. The tragic thing is one of my friends is far away in another country since her father is a diplomat. The other is as sociable as a butterfly. So I was left alone. But I have been to my fair share of balls, and I was once queen. I learned how to disguise myself. I held my head high up and stood there, like I had a purpose, standing there alone. Liana. Surprise, someone shouted behind me. I pretended to be surprised. I had my guess. It was Sally, my friend, whose father is a diplomat. A royal ball for Lord Aster did not happen in my previous life. But Sally tried to do something similar in a gathering hosted by Sebastian's aunt tomorrow. Sally, you came back, yes, for a month. I missed you, Liana. I nearly could not recognize you. You look so elegant, and the aura. Who are you kidding? I rolled my eyes. I heard this Lord Aster is really handsome. Sally whispered. Haven't you seen your fair share of handsome guys already in the court of a foreign kingdom? Liana, she giggled. Well, why aren't there more handsome guys in our own kingdom? Just then, a servant approached me and told me Sebastian was waiting for me. I thanked him and told Sally to go find something to eat first. I went to meet Sebastian. A couple was standing beside him. The tall, handsome guy was without a doubt Lord Aster. The petite girl next to him must be Lady Aster. Lord and Lady Aster, it is a pleasure to meet you. After some discussion, Lord Aster finally decided to talk with Sebastian alone. Then I'll leave my heiress in your hand. Please take care of her, Lord Aster said with a charming smile. Lord Aster turned and whispered something in Lady Aster's ears and lovingly patted her on her head. She rolled her eyes, but still smiled sweetly and uttered, "Yes, my lord." Mother, you should come and see how true lovely couple acts like. Stop daydreaming and think Sebastian and I was a lovely couple. Surprisingly, just like Lord Aster. Sebastian leaned forward and whispered, "Go to the dessert table. I hope you enjoy the desserts." With a nod, the two of them left, leaving me with the beloved wife of a powerful lord. Life is hard even for a reborn girl. Would you like some desserts, Lady Aster? I'd love to. I offered my hand and led her to the dessert table. I picked out a dessert for Lady Aster while I enjoyed my favorite cake. The whole table was filled with desserts I like. Did Sebastian order that? It couldn't be right. He shouldn't have noticed my preferences in those 2 years. But he did notice me reading an encyclopedia even though I did not actually read one. I was pretending to be gracefully having small talks with Lady Aster when I saw a girl trip just behind Lady Aster. Champagne in the glass she was holding flew through the air in slow motion. I could not allow an honorable guest to be dripping in wine. In a split second, I decided to use my power. The champagne flew back into the glass and stayed there. Nausea swept through me while I smiled at Lady Aster and edged her closer to the wall. Let me get you another tart. I try to hold in the cough building up in my throat. It's too much. I picked out the chocolate tart Lady Aster seemed to enjoy, handed it over to her and excused myself, asking Sally to look after her on my way out. Just behind the column around the corner, I started coughing. A metallic taste filled my mouth. Are you alright? I looked up and saw Sebastian staring down at me. I am sorry I left Lady Aster. I promised I took good care of her before leaving. I asked Sally, do I continue to cough my lung out? I asked, stop talking, Lena. Am I such a cold-hearted monster in your heart? He seemed angry. He looked angry. I had never seen him this angry. Do you need to rest? He asked again, arm around my shoulder. Then everything turned black when I opened my eyes. I was back at home. I found a small glass bottle in my hand. It looked quite like a poisonous potion. That was when I noticed a note tucked in my other hand. Medicine, get well soon, Sebastian. Badum biadum. Badum. What sound could it be except for my racing heart? Entry 10, May 28th, XXXX. I thought I have left everything behind me, but apparently not. Sebastian's aunt hosted a tea party today. His aunt, the Grand Duchess, loves parties. After taking Sebastian's medicine, I felt much better, so I went to her party as planned. It was a nice tea party and Sally was there, so everything went pretty well. I had fun talking with Sally, listening to her fun anecdotes about her life in a foreign court. Amid all the fun, I forgot something really important. It had something to do with Lady Sarah's cousin. Her cousin Rosa is from the country. She came to visit her aunt's family this summer. Her aunt, in the hope of finding a nice match for her, asked Sarah to bring her to different parties. Rosa meets new people in every party she goes to. She is a nice and friendly girl. Everyone likes her. If there is one misgiving, then that would be her tendency to show off her power. Something similar happened in my previous life. It was such a farce. It became the laughingstock for at least a season. Nevertheless, I forgot about that totally. That's when tragedy struck for some reason. In this life, I sat very close to Rosa and her new friends. Unlike in my previous life where I sat all over the other side of the garden. When Rosa once again showed off her power, the same thing happened. Her power was fire. She can shape fire into any shape she wishes. This time she said she could shape fire into the flower just right by our side. She shaped her fire, placed it next to the bush with the flower. Guess what happened? Of course it caught fire. Everyone with a brain or those without knows fire plus would cause this huge fire. But now the fire was out of her control. When I saw the red flames lick the bush, when the smell of fire burning would reach my nose, things I didn't wish to remember reappear, as vividly as if I was experiencing right there. The flame dancing outside the castle, inside the throne room. The flame finding its way onto the throne I was sitting. Pain all over me as the fire and heat reached me. I started trembling. I could not move. I was trapped. I was transported in time. I am going to die. Turn into ashes together with this kingdom. My pathetic life is going to end their pain. Pain all over my body. That was when a cold hand covered my eyes. A cold, calm voice whispered into my ear, Liana. Do you remember that time when we went to the sea? That time with my mother, and yours, you like the sea. Don't you let's go together again. The sea is in front of you. See sapphire blue water. Cool wind, breeze, sand. It felt like I was on the beach all along the beach. Of course I was on the beach all along. If not, how could you explain the cool and salty breeze brushing on my face? Or the feeling of scrunching sand in my feet? Or the deep blue sea in front of me? And then I lost consciousness. That's right. I fainted again for 2 consecutive days. I am not part of the swooning ladies club. If you think they swoon because they feel shy, you're wrong. When you faint, you become the center of attention of everyone. Is that something a shy and timid girl does? Of course not. Therefore, as part of the shy and timid girl club, I never swoon, apparently I was wrong. I had a dream when I was unconscious. I dreamed about that day Sebastian talked about. When I was 8, Queen Henrietta wanted to go to the beach. She dragged the king, her son, and the entire court to the summer castle, which has not been in use for years as the current king does not like to travel over long distances. My family, of course, went along as the entire court was over there, and more importantly, Mother's best friend. I dreamed about that day when Sebastian and I were thrown together again by our mothers. I think that was one of the last times we met before Queen Henrietta passed away. I was very excited to see the sea, a whole body of water. As a water elementalist, that was like paradise to me. I remembered playing in the water after a while. I wanted to build a sand castle. But do you think a sand castle is easy to build? Of course not. I started to get frustrated after a while. That was when Sebastian stooped next to me, and then a castle appeared out of thin air. Scene changed, I was back to that day. That day in the throne room, just like that day. Sebastian grabbed my hand and pain left me. But this time when I opened my eyes, I was standing on the same beach with King Sebastian next to me, holding my hand. Something nagged at the edge of my brain. This scene seems really familiar, like a memory to me. Then I woke up. Dreams, as people said, are nonsensical. Maybe because it was Sebastian who saved me from the fire today. That's why I dreamed about him. That must be the case, right? Entry 11, May 29th, XXXX. That dream I had when I lost consciousness felt weird. It felt more like my memories than a dream. The beginning of the dream was a memory, but sand castle appearing out of thin air. That scene where grown-up Sebastian and I walk on the beach. That must be a dream if those scenes aren't dreams. How do you explain them? When I woke up, Mother was staying by my side. Liana, are you feeling better? Why did you stand there like a statue? Haven't I taught you since you were small? When you see a fire, run. Run like your life depends on it. Even a 5-year-old understands that. Why didn't you run if the prince wasn't there? You'll be burnt alive. I froze at the words, burnt alive. Why didn't you run, Liana? Sally told me that fire was originally just the size of a hearth fire. I don't think you would be frightened by a fire the size of a hearth fire. It had spread on pretty quickly. Sally said you froze as soon as you saw the fire. I was caught off guard. Mother eyed me suspiciously. She knew I was hiding something from her. But I can't explain it to her, can I? How I wish I could tell her what happened. How I wish I could do that. But I know too many secrets. Too many terrible secrets. I know too well what secrets can do. Secrets can kill without saying anything. I leaned forward and hugged my mother. Mother knew I would not tell her. She sighed and patted on my shoulder. Now, young lady, since you're saved by the prince, you'd better think of a way to thank him. I knew she has left things dropped for now. I smiled. I will, Mother, even without Mother reminding. I am planning to do that. He saved me, both from the real fire and my nightmare. If he wasn't there, I might have screamed or gone mad. Then I would not just be the queen that brings misfortune, but mad queen as well. Wait, I don't plan to marry Sebastian anymore. What was I thinking? But why was he at the party yesterday? Shouldn't he be entertaining Lord and Lady Astor? I did not remember him attending the party in my previous life. I should prepare a gift to show my gratitude. What should I prepare for him? What does he like? Encyclopedia. If not, why was there an encyclopedia in my room? But that was not creative. Think. You were married to him for 2 years. He is a workaholic. He cares about his kingdom and his subjects. His hobby is looking at paperwork. He likes to eat meat, especially steak. He does not like sweet things. He prefers wino and dark chocolate. I once had a box of dark chocolates. I kept it in my room as my reading snacks. I ate only 2 pieces each day. As a queen whose only work was to look through the castle bill once a month and stayed in her room all day, it was easy to get fat. So I stopped myself from indulging too much. But the chocolates kept disappearing. I was quite sure I didn't eat that many during the day. One explanation was that I dreamwalk. The other was Sebastian eating them. I did not think servants dared to eat the queen's chocolate. I asked him one day while he was looking through some papers, and he said yes without blinking. Those were my chocolates for one moment. I was really worried I dreamwalked and ate that many chocolates. So chocolate then. I decided to find Sally and go shopping together. After the fainting spree, I think I deserve some chocolates. Entry 12 June 7th. XXXX when I don't want to do something. I have a tendency to push it off. I bought the chocolate, I wrote the thank you note. But I cannot bring myself to go to the castle and give it to Sebastian. I considered asking Adrian to give it to Sebastian, but that notion was banned by Mother. She said a well-mannered lady will not do that. Which is true, that's why I pushed it off until now. A week later today, Mother could no longer bear my uncivilized behavior. She threw me onto a carriage with my box of chocolate and set me off to the castle. I felt like a cattle to be sold, to be honest. I didn't send a note in advance. I did not think Sebastian will receive me. He works strictly according to a schedule, trust me. You don't want to disrupt his schedule. So it's all an act. The footman would bring me to the drawing room and pretend to notify the prince. But I was sure not one servant would really dare and go notify him. I would have some tea. Maybe some delicious cookies by the royal cook. And then I would be sent off as the prince had something urgent to attend to. That's what I thought. But why didn't things go according to plan? I was so shocked when Sebastian entered the room. I chalked on my cookies. I thought you were expecting me. Heat seeped onto my cheeks. I was not. I was just expecting delicious cookies, not you. I didn't even think through what to say to him. I didn't send a note before coming. No, you did not. Then why were you receiving me? How about your schedule? You're my fiancé. How many times have you used this reason? Does that mean I am an exception because I am his fiancé? That does not make sense. Stop feeding my heart. I'm sure it has more to do with responsibility than he liking me. Haven't you learned enough? I looked down and saw the box of chocolate on my lap. That was then I remembered why I was there. Prince Sebastian. Thank you so much for saving me from that incident. Here's a thank you gift. I hope you like it. I planned to call on you, but Adrian said you felt much better. The thank you gift was quite late. Why did he seem like teasing me when his face stayed emotionless? Was he implying he wished to visit me? But since Adrian said I had recovered, so he expected me to call on him instead to express my gratitude. But I didn't turn up until 1 week later. That's why he said my gift was late. Why did this make so much sense? I think I have turned into a translator for Prince Sebastian's language. I don't want to intrude on your schedule. You were forced to come here by Lady King. He was going to misunderstand and think I didn't really want to meet him. No, I wish to come and meet you too. See, I prepared the chocolate. It's just I was really worried I might intrude on your busy schedule. I plan to come when you are less busy, I see. He opened the box, picked up a piece of chocolate and placed it into his mouth. I hope he liked the chocolates. That was from the same shop I usually buy my chocolates from. When I saw him picking up the next piece of chocolate, I sighed in relief. He really seemed to like that. If he did not like that, he usually stopped eating. That happened once when the cook wished to experiment on Oriental style. He took one bite and placed his fork and knife down. He was on his third piece of chocolate when he said, "Aunt is planning to go to Coral Cliff next week." The Grand Duchess goes to Coral Cliff every summer for 3 months. It is a small island, a very popular place of retreat for nobles. The Grand Duchess owns an estate there. But why did he suddenly bring up Coral Cliff? You like the sea. Aunt's estate has a private beach. After so many years and so many times spent with him, I finally understand Sebastian a bit. He never says what he wants clearly. You have to guess and deduce. But I know he is not like that when treating matters regarding country. Why is he like that regarding personal matters? So was he implying he wanted me to go to Coral Cliff with his aunt? You want me to accompany Grand Duchess to Coral Cliff? It's nearly time for hunting. A slow smile appears on his face. That predator smile. Then I remembered. Sebastian's father died in July 1 month from now. Then my whole family died the following month. At that time, I thought King Louis died in a carriage accident. My family died in yet another accident. The mushrooms the maid bought were poisonous. I was left out because my aunt fell ill. She was married to Zihin. The country Sally and her diplomat father were returning to. So I traveled to Zihin with Sally a week before King Louis's death. A month after I arrived at Zihin, I received a letter from Sebastian and my whole world crumpled. But then a year after I was married to Sebastian, a maid who had returned home before dinner on that fateful day told me no mushrooms were bought that day. She went to the market with cook. The menu was not mushroom soup either. She left after Cook finished cooking. So she was sure my family was murdered, but I can't leave. I have to stop my family from being murdered. I still had not found out the reason behind the murder or the true killer. I originally planned to persuade my whole family to go with me on a trip to Idhan or Zihin a month before the original date of the incident. Since the incident still hasn't happened, there is no way I could find out the killer if I was not able to do it in my previous life. The only way is to stay away. Just when I was deep in thoughts, something clasped around my neck. It's a necklace. A glass seashell filled with water. Sebastian was clasping the necklace around my neck. He whispered next to my ears, "Trust me." The words seemed familiar, but where Liana? "Go with Grand Duchess." He gently stroked my hair. "It's the only way you'll protect my family, trust me." He gave me a final stroke on my hair and said, "I'll send people to protect your family." Is there a reason? The hunting season is going to start. You are not a hunter. Entry 13 June 8th XXXX. You are not a hunter. Does that mean I'm in his way? Or he simply wants to protect me after all these? I still do not want to hinder him. I still want to help him. I even risk my entire family to help him. How pathetic. When will you wake up, Liana? Why do you still trust him unconditionally? Is it worth risking your family? It's no use regretting when I am already on the carriage to Coral Cliff. At the end of the day, I still trust him unconditionally. When he said he would protect my family, I trust him. I left my family and came all the way here. He has resources. It's much better than me hitting around blindly. To be quite honest, it's all a lost cause. When Mother heard about that, she literally packed my suitcases and pushed me into the carriage. And I really doubt there is something Sebastian could not do when he has already set his mind on it. That's why in the end I agreed to, or was forced to come along. What I didn't expect was him coming along. I thought you weren't coming along. I asked Sebastian, who was sitting right across me on the carriage. I have something to do there. I will return after staying a few days. He replied without looking up from his documents. I see. Then it was followed by silence, which wasn't a surprise. I have already gotten used to Sebastian's style silence. I took out the novel I have prepared for the journey and read all the way to the inn. We were on the road for 1 week when we finally arrived at the pier. During the entire trip, it felt like I was back to when I was married to him. We traveled in the same carriage and dined together. Surprisingly, it doesn't feel awkward. I even feel kind of relaxed. I don't have the pressure to keep thinking what to say, as I know Sebastian does not expect me to entertain him. However, when I see something interesting and share it with him, he will reply in his short, concise manner. This makes me realize something. Did my hatred and depression blind me? I had this firm belief that I suffered a lot during my entire 2 years living with him. But now that I look back, in the first year of our marriage, before the famine started, before the gossips circulated, before I found out that my family's death was not an accident, before Sebastian refused to help me, we got along pretty well, kind of like this. I feel relaxed staying by his side. He knows quite a lot of things. Like that time when I saw a tree with some pretty blossoms. He could point out what kind of tree that was immediately. But even if we get along well, that does not mean I would not break my engagement with him. The betrayal and depression I felt when he refused to help me find out the truth could never be wiped away. Those feelings will forever be a thorn in my heart. I don't hate him now. I know he had his reason. The famine, the droughts, the gossips, the traitor. He had his own kingdom to save. But understanding his reasons was one thing. That did not make his betrayal hurt less. I was his wife. He could have promised to help me find out the truth after everything was solved, not treating my pleading like a joke. I have a headache just trying to sort out all these mess. We will reach Coral Cliff tomorrow. I heard that the beach and the sea is stunning. I think I need a well-deserved holiday. Entry 14. June 11th XXXX. It has been 3 days since we have arrived at Coral Cliff. This island is as beautiful as what others said. The sapphire blue sea, the beach, the beautiful estates. No wonder this is a retreat paradise for nobles and the rich. The only misgiving is that it is troublesome to come here. First, 1 week of carriage ride to the pier and then taking a ferry to the island. The ferry only runs for twice a day tomorrow. Sebastian is going to leave. I still have no idea what business he had all the way here. He did disappear during our first 2 days here, or maybe I was busy settling down and arranging our trunks. I did not notice him. Grand Duchess was eyeing him suspiciously during the entire trip, which was hilarious. But she was happy nevertheless, because she could throw the two of us together. Grand Duchess stays true to being mother and Queen Henrietta's friend. Sebastian invited me to walk around the town today. Invited, and I heard the Coral Beach is an attraction here. I went with him. This was going to be our last date. I believe when I return, his plan will be near the end. Then our engagement will come to an end. He would no longer be my fiancé. I am very satisfied our last date happened in this beautiful place. We first went to the town square where there are lots of different shops selling different sea-themed souvenirs and snacks. I was not really interested in the little trinkets, but the sea-themed desserts and snacks were quite my type. Sebastian bought every snack I laid my eyes on. If only he was this sweet when we were married. Would things have changed? At least I got some sweet memory to hang on to after our engagement ends. After eating to my stomach's content, I bought a box of chocolate for him in return. We went to the beach. We were walking side by side along the shore as the sun set. For some reason, a sense of déjà vu hit me. It seemed like this has happened before, but that is not possible. We had never been to the sea together aside from that time when we were small. You don't like sandcastles now? Sebastian asked, thinking back to the time when we were small. I smiled. Of course I like them. I just don't know how to build them. True. What you built weren't castles but sand dunes. He seemed to be holding back a laughter. Did I build such bad sandcastles when I was 8? I knew it was not great. But I did not like being laughed at by Ice Prince Sebastian. I don't believe you. I squatted down and started to build a sandcastle. I failed quite hard. I don't think they could even be called sand dunes. Just a lump of sand. I heard a faint chuckle. I looked up and saw Sebastian sitting next to me. He was looking at me. The sunset made his gaze look warm and gentle. I glanced down at my castle and let my hair hide my face. My eyes felt sore. Why did all my dreams come true when everything came to an end? All my pathetic romantic dreams that I had given up slowly and gradually when reality hit me in my previous life. I should be grateful I finally got what I wanted. Even though it might be late, but never mind. At least I still have the memories. Sebastian started to stroke my hair gently. I'll leave before dawn tomorrow. He does not need me to see him off. I don't even have that chance. Everything will end now that seashell is charmed. It will draw unlimited water. Seashell. He meant the pendant he gave me. Unlimited water. What use does it have when I can only control a drop of water? Fire can be put out with drops of water. And the simpler way is to pour the water in the pendant over a fire. The water from the pendant is unlimited. Oh right. Silly me, I laughed. How silly was I to get upset? There's always a simpler way. You laughed, Sebastian said as if surprised. That's when I realized I haven't laughed in a long time. A long time. I gave him a smile in return. Aunt will take care of you. I looked at him and nodded. It's the end, right? He will really be a good king. See, he is caring for his soon-to-be ex-fiancé even now. He knows I'm afraid of fire. So he gave me a charmed pendant full of water. I am sure I'll enjoy myself here. I like it here. Maybe I will just stay here from now on, I said while destroying my failed sandcastle. That's when Sebastian hugged me. People will miss you if you stay here forever, he said in his usual emotionless tone. Will you? He pulled me up and before letting go of my hand he whispered, trust me. I looked towards the sinking sun. Tears stung my eyes. Goodbye, Sebastian.